Okay, and today we're back with the e46. We don't have to do a whole lot to this thing, though. We just need to look at the back lights to figure out what is or isn't working. And we need to sort out this key not doing things. Doesn't this trunk button work? Oh, there it is, okay. So it doesn't respond to anything, as we've noted before in the previous video. And we finally have the brake lining sensor for the rear wheels in, so we'll go ahead and do that. But using my TIS, I found a procedure that may work. So, and I'll put that on screen now. You'll see the screenshot of the TIS with the procedure for your e46 on how to resync your key with the car. So assuming this thing is actually transmitting power, here's what you do. You put the key in, turn to the one position, and then off, out, hold the unlock button, and then press lock 3 times. And if it works, the lock should cycle. If it doesn't, then we're not working right. Let's try it. Oh, snap, boys! I think we fixed it. Let's see. Hey, hey, hey! Bam! Alright, guys, that is how you resync your key to your BMW e46 when this key fails to operate the stuff. So again, you've already seen it. I put it on screen earlier. I'll do it again for good measure, and then follow that procedure. You just saw it work. All right. All right, let's see which lights do or don't work here. So we got the parking lights on. They all seem to work. Okay. Yeah, hold on a sec. So with the brakes, we got the middle one working. Hit the brakes again. We have top left on this one, bottom right on that one. So I'm guessing we have either the bulbs are in the wrong place, or we need a replacement bulb here and here. But I don't really know about all that, so I'm going to have to look more into that. Use the right signal. Left blinker. Alright, turn that off. Turn the parking lights off. Hit the brakes again.
You what?
The brakes again!
You're hard to hear over this air.
Okay, so we'll look into this and we'll see what needs to be replaced, or if I need to move some bulbs around. Alright, so we got that fixed. 7506 is the bulb that it takes, and I figured out what's doing, so if I can... Okay, so the top is a brake light. Okay, so we have the two tops are brake lights. The middles are turn signals. The bottoms are parking lights. I'm guessing why we saw the bottom right on earlier is because the top brake light had failed on the right side, and it must be some sort of fail-safe that one of the parking lights becomes a brake light. So we're going to demonstrate that here in a sec for you guys. See, parking lights are on. Can't do the brake lights while I can't put the camera in 2 places at once. But as you can see now, I think I showed you earlier when I turned the key to on, but there was a light on here, a little bulb. It's gone now, so that's nice and fixed now. We've got the key lock fixed, so now the only thing we need to do is clear, and I'll show you where that thing is. Okay, see this light right here, the brake lining warning light? That's what we're going to fix next with our part, so we'll get to that. If you want to know what the old bulb looked like, there you go. As you can see, it clearly exploded. This will focus, which it won't because my camera hates me. There we go. See, exploded. There it is, 7506. I'm guessing all the bulbs in there are 7506 because the brake light and the parking lights were the same bulb. So, all right, let's get under there and replace our part. All right, pull off the tripod so we can get under there and look. So, brake sensor is supposed to go in here, rear left. I got the e-brake on the front tire chalked. Front driver tire chalked. Front driver tire chalk. So again, locate your dealio under the car and get your jack pad, which she probably doesn't have these, I don't know, but I keep spares in my trunk of my E38, so we're gonna use mine. We're gonna jack the car up till the wheel gets off the ground. 17mm lugs. I'm gonna bust loose my impact, and then we can get that sensor in quick, fast, and in a hurry. Okay, so I want to show you this real quick. Those 4 lug bolts came off just fine with my impact. Some jack-off put one of these things on so fucking tight, my impact couldn't bust it off. This thing has 1,080 pound-feet of breakaway torque, by the way. So I had to put this big-ass, like 3-foot-long breaker bar and this fucking 3-foot-long pipe from my jack in order to get enough leverage to bust this thing loose. So, doing that and yanking it as hard as I can, I finally busted it loose. So, whoever that guy is, you're an asshole. Alright, moving on. Okay, now you can see. You see this little notch in there? That is where we're going to put the dealio for the brakes. And then the other end is going to go, so I can figure out where my box goes, where my wires is. Actually, it looks like they didn't take the other one out. Must have burned through it though, I'm guessing. But they left it in here, so you can follow it along this way and down this way. I will admit, this part is kind of a bigger pain in the ass to get to than it is on my car. You have to follow it until you get to the box to replace it. So I need to get some cardboard to lay down. I was hoping it was going to be like my E38 where the box is just sitting right in there. So let's do that right quick. Okay, so it isn't under any panel that I have to take off, but it is in a mildly less convenient place than my E38. Here's the box. So the box looks the same, but it's right up above the jack pad. So we should open the box, disconnect the correct sensor, the brake lining one, not the ABS sensor. Disconnect that, plug it back in, the new one, and we'll go inside and make sure that the light is in fact off.
A few moments later.
Alright boys, we got a wee bit of a problem here. Okay, so as you can see, we got the new sensor in, and we figured the 90-degree bend wasn't really that big of a deal, so we got this thing running as taut as it can be as we snake it back where it came from. The problem we have, get under here, we have run out of room. This new one is shorter than the old one. It doesn't quite reach this box. Now I can still plug it in. I just can't put this thing back in the box to protect it from the elements. So, as much as I don't want to do this, I'm going to have to close the box back up and leave at least the ABS part protected. And this is going to have to stay exposed. And I guess she can decide if she wants to leave it like this or replace the wire with a new OEM one. And I'll save the OEM one so she'll know how long it is at least. And then I'll let her decide how she wants to roll with that. But for now, it's together at least. So close the box. I'll go back in and we'll at least see if that turns the light off. All right. So the key in. Turn to the run position, but do not start it. And I don't think the door has to be closed for this, but you just gotta sit here for a little minute, maybe a whole minute. And then when the system does its check, that light should turn off. And if it does, success. If it doesn't, well, we may have to do the job over again anyway because that is the wrong length wire. But we'll at least see what happens if that light goes out. Thinking no dice, boys. We're at 1 minute and 15 seconds. That light is still on. I have something to do with that aftermarket part. Assuming the light's on because of the rear brakes. She said she replaced them, and that's when the light came on. She replaced the rear brakes. And I've checked the front ones, and they have pretty good meat on them. Alright, having failed to reset it the old-fashioned way, I'm going to break out ye old code scanner and force a reset. Brake reset. This is real time. Ignition is on. Of course it isn't. Alright, may have one more trick up my sleeve. Alright, so I pulled the front sensor off and I cleaned inside there. I disconnected it and cleaned it with electrical contact cleaner at both ends. The car side and then the sensor side. I did pull this out, and actually you can kind of see in there. So I removed that. And as you can see, we're getting close to the rotor, boys, so she doesn't have much life left in her on the fronts. But when I did pull it out and inspect it, it's not worn out. It hasn't been rubbing yet, so this sensor's still good. So, I'll try it again. If it doesn't work, then it's just a bad aftermarket rear sensor is what the problem is. So, alright, see, catch you on the interior. Car, waiting to see if this will clear itself. Hopefully so. I'm betting it's not, though. I'm betting it's that aftermarket sensor in the back. Not being OEM is what this problem is. Well, it's a full minute. We give it 15 more seconds, and if it doesn't reset, it's not going to. It's that rear sensor. So, let this be a lesson to you, boys. Aftermarket is no good. You gotta go OEM. That's it. Not resetting, so I'm gonna put the front wheel back on and then wrap this video up. And I'll just tell her she didn't have to live with the light, or buy an OEM rear sensor, and then I'll install it, and then that light will be gone. So
The next day.
okay, so it's the next day, and we went ahead and solved the problem. So I don't have any of that stuff with me; it's all inside. But I used my ohm meter to check for resistance. My UEI meter, which you guys have seen in some of my other videos. I put the two probes touching the two little pins poking up inside this sensor. There's no continuity, which means that the sensor was bad, right? So because this new sensor wasn't working, or I suspected it wasn't working, but I wasn't 100% sure if it might be the front one just bad, what I did was I cut it where that little plug was. So I cut the wire, stripped the insulation off, and then I twisted the wires together and then soldered them and then taped them up. So now it's a complete circuit. I then put the probes back on here and tested for resistance. We had continuity, so I plugged it back in, and when I did that, you'll notice this happened. Oh, looky, the light is off. So we're now fixed. We now have no lights on when the engines are running. I guess I'll go ahead and demonstrate that. See? All is well. Except the seatbelt light, because I'm not wearing my seatbelt, but you get the idea. She really needs to get on keeping fuel in this thing too, man. I need to get on her for that. Don't let these things run below a quarter tank, boys. You're going to have a bad time with your fuel pump. So, alright, I'm going to go ahead and yank that old sensor out of there so she can return it if possible. the bypass I'll have to do for now, and then I guess when the front sensor goes, if she wants, she can buy a set of sensors, and I'll just replace the front sensor with the front brakes and that rear sensor when I do that job also. Or if she wants to keep, or if she wants to buy a new sensor immediately, I can do that too, whatever. I'll let her decide what she wants to do with that, but the bottom line is, it is fixed, so, well, I mean, it's fixed since we ran a bypass. Bottom line is the light's off, so it was the rear sensor, not the front, and last night I just forgot that I even had my own meter and everything. I was getting a little frustrated, and it only occurred to me today. I'm like, you know what, I could have tested that electrically, but I didn't anticipate it not working, so I didn't bother testing the replacement in the first place. That probably would have saved me some trouble. But anyway, it's fixed now, so I can get this back to her. She'll be picking it up, and then you know, if we need to do any more e46 videos, I'll bring them to you. And I don't know what we're going to work on next. Maybe the e38 driver's side door handle or something. I don't know. We'll see what we're doing next. Before I close this out, I just noticed something before I put the tire back on. She's got a nail in here, but it doesn't look like it's leaking. I don't see any bubbles coming out of it, so I'll go ahead and get this pulled out for her. And if it leaks, I'll plug it. If it doesn't, great, we're done. And then that's that jank sensor that's no good. And then so I got the original one back up in the box where the plug is, and then snake through its original path. And then instead of going down in here, I just have it looped around, and that's where she'll rest, my bypass. So I'll let you know if we have to plug this or not, but I'm thinking I could just pull this out with some vice grip. So I'll get to doing that, and then this beast will be road ready. And here's the little guy. So I guess the tip must have broke off somewhere, and or maybe she bent it and broke it and only ran over this part. I don't know. Only that thing's lodged in there, and as you can see, we got no air bubbles coming out of that hole. See? So no leak. Let's put the tire back on, and then we're done. So there you go, guys. That is how you well, that's, I guess, really, that's how you fix your brake light when it's gone out. That's how you reprogram your key fob to the car, and that's how you run a bypass if your wheel sensor's bad and your replacement brake sensor is faulty. So, alright, there she is, boys. That's how you get her done. Thanks for watching, guys. Peace.